Srinivas, give me host to me. Okay. So then these are the properties we are having in the background property. Okay. So clear? So next one is the display. Next one is the display. Okay. CSS display property is used to specify how an element should be displayed. By this property, we can change the display behavior of an element like set the inline or block property manually by overriding the default style. So as we said in the HTML, so we are having the two type of display elements. Okay, block level elements, inline elements. Okay, so what are the block level elements? Block level elements, uh, paragraph, div, image, and other things. And inline anchor tag, so span tag. So these things are the inline tags. So whatever we are having the default. So if you want to overcome those things, so we can use the display property. Can use the display property. So then now we can see. So we are having the four type of displays. We are having the four type of displays. One is display inline, so then display block, so then display inline block, then display none. These four things we are having in the display property. Okay, so first one we can see the display inline. First one we can see the display inline. Creating new file 38.html. So first suppose paragraph. Okay, sample text display paragraph block, right? So I am creating so another paragraph. Okay, so two paragraphs, just two paragraphs. When I execute this one, so it is coming two lines. Okay, two lines because of paragraph is a block level element. So whenever we don't have insufficient, we don't have sufficient content for the row level. So by default, so if it is a block level element, so it is automatically takes the entire row. If we are having the insufficient content also, so then that's why paragraph is a block level element. So that's why it is taking complete row width. Now I want to apply this one side by side. I want to apply so this one side by side. So just you can use the display inline inline. Okay. So then so this one also you have to apply. Okay. So if you can apply for both the one only, then only it will display side by side. Now I am applying the for paragraph. So display inline display inline. Now you can see it is displaying the side by side. It is displaying the side by side. So that means, so whatever the block level elements are there, so those CSS it is overriding. So how much content we are having? So up to it is taking only up to that much width. So then remaining width it is allocating to the next level of element, next level of element. Okay, so that is the purpose of display inline. Okay, so the next one is the display block. Display block. So why? So where we can use that one? So if we are having the two span elements, span. Okay, so sample text for inline block element. I have two span elements here. I have two span elements here. So by default, it is coming side by side because of span is a inline element. See now, so it is coming by default side by side. Okay. So the next one, so you can give the CSS for this one span display block. Then now you can see these two things also coming. So row level, now this span is a block level element. Okay, so if you want to change the block level elements as a inline element, so we have to use the property called display inline. If you want to change the inline element as a block level element, so we have to use the property called display block. Display block. For suppose if you can see the previous example, thing 36. Here we are having the buttons. These are all the elements are inline element. So if you can use it here, so my button, so here you just use the display block. So all these elements, so coming, so one by one. Now you can see. Okay, you can see. Okay, so it is coming like this. If you can use display block. Okay, so this is the way we can use the display inline and display block. So then display none. If you want to hide the element, if you want to hide the element, okay, so either paragraph or span, whatever it may be. Sample text for hiding the element. Also, you can use the span also. Okay, so if you want to hide this one, so just you can create a one class called d-none. Okay, so display none. So whenever you want to hide any element, so you can use this class. For suppose I want to hide this paragraph, class equal to, so then display none. Hiding the element, only span element is showing. So here p tag. So then here I am writing the span tag. Okay, now you can see. Okay, span tag is showing, p tag we are hiding because here we are applied the display none class. So if we can apply same for this one also, then it is applied. So both the span and this one both the hiding. Okay, so this is the display property. Okay, clear. So the next one is display inline. The inline value gives an element the inline property even if it's a block level element. So then same thing, so then block, it forces an element to behave like block level elements. If it is a inline element, so it is possibly apply the block level elements. So then display none. This value hides the element on the web page. The element doesn't even occupy the space and gets hidden completely. Okay, here we can hide the elements two ways. Okay, two ways. So visibility also we are having. So we can discuss that one in detail later. So then here, so I am creating the hyphen visibility. visibility, visibility, visibility hidden. Okay, now you can see the difference of both the things, the difference of both the things. So I am applying the class for this one, display visibility, and one is display none. Now you can see, so here no elements are showing, but so whenever I am creating another element, and so whenever I am creating another element, another another HTML tag element. Now you can see. Now you can see. So somewhere here we are having a gap. What is this gap? We are writing the display none and visibility hidden. So basically the difference between display none and visibility hidden, display none completely hiding the element, and whatever that element occupies space, that space also hiding. But visibility hidden only whatever content is having, so only that content can hide, and whatever space it is occupying, so this space cannot hide. Okay, now if you can see this one, display none, so we are unable to see anything. Okay, whenever I am hovering. Okay, then whenever I am hovering, display visibility, see that one, so that space is not hidden. Okay, so whenever we are used to visibility hidden, so only content can hidden, but space cannot hidden. Okay, but display none, so display none, so that including content and space both are hidden. Okay, so both the things are removed. But here display visibility only content removed, but space cannot remove. Okay, so that is the difference between display visibility and, sorry, display none and visibility hidden. Okay, so the next one is true, right? So next one is the float. Next one is the float property. So all these things we discussed. Okay, so display, all these things we discussed, and next one is the float. So the CSS float property is used an element in the web page. It can be push an element either left or right. So if you want to push the element either left or right, so then for that purpose you can use the we can use the float. Okay, so in that float property we are having the five types of values. So first one is the float none. So by default this is the value float none. So the next one is the float left. So if you want to align the content left or right to left, we have to use the float left. So then if you want to if you want to display the content from a left to right, we have to use the float right. So the next one, initial and inherit. It sets the initial floating property of the element. So then inherit, it specifies the parent element floating property will be inherited. Okay, now we can see getting another element 39.html. Okay, so I have a two paragraphs. I have a two paragraphs. A CSS float example. So then display none, display none. Okay, so this one, so by default it is displaying left, right. So then I am using float right. I'm using float, right? So this is a sample text to display paragraph block 1 and paragraph block 2. Okay, now you can see. So 39.html. See now. So first one, sample text to display paragraph block 1 is displaying right side. Now we can remove this one. We can remove this one. I'm removing the display property. So then now you can see what will happen here. So remove. So this paragraph display inline. So then see how it is applies. So it is applies both the paragraphs side by side because of we are applied the float right. So if we can apply the float left, if we can apply the float left, so then it is applying the this way. Okay, so then you can see. So I have a two classes. I have a two classes f dot f hyphen r. Okay, so that means float or right. Okay, so then f hyphen dot f hyphen l, that means float left. Now you can see. So for first paragraph I am applying the class called class equal to f hyphen l, that means float left. So for this one, class equal to f hyphen r. Now you can see. Okay, so now block paragraph, second paragraph is applied to completely right and first paragraph is completely left. Okay, clear? Clear. So this is the way we can apply the float left and right. Float left and right. So the next one is the float none. By default it is by default none only. So if you won't apply any float property, by default all the html elements are aligning to left side only. All the html elements are aligning to left side. So, okay, so the next one is the display, sorry, float initial and inherit. We can discuss here. So then float initial and inherit. For suppose I have a body tag here, or otherwise I have a div tag here. Div class equal to my div. Okay, so I am created div here. So then close div here. Inside div I have a two paragraphs. Inside div I have a two paragraphs. For this paragraph, for this div, my div, so that my div, I am writing, I am writing float, float right, float right. Okay, so this is the parent element. This is the parent element for both the paragraphs, right? So now, so if I don't have these classes, for suppose if you are having so fr or fl floats, float inherit, inherit. So that means whatever my div property is having, that class, that property will apply. So it is inheriting from the parent level element. Now see, because of, see this one, inherit. So because of this one is applied, so my div, this is this property is applied from my div. My div is having float right. If I can remove this one, see this one. So again, so this one is moving to left only, left only, because of there is no parent elements, there is no parent property, parent, there is no parent float property here. Okay, I am uncommented, I am commented here. So if I uncommented this one, so that will apply to this one. Okay, so if you want to inherit the properties from the parent element, so then you have to use the inherit value you can use. So then initial, now you can see for my div, now I am creating the body tag. So I'm creating the left float left. Okay, so for float right I can use the initial. Okay, I can use the initial. Now you can see, now you can see. So this is the inherit. Okay, so then fr, it is a initial property is applying. So what is the initial property for this one? Float left. Okay, clear. It is applying the float left. Okay, initial property what it is having, so that property can apply for this element wherever we are using the initial. Okay, so the next one, so parent. So if you want to inherit the parent properties, so then we have to use the inherit. So that is the difference between the inherit and initial. Okay, inherit and initial property, we can use all the elements. We can use all the elements. Now if we can see here, so whenever what type of values are having for properties, for float property or background property, just you can write the float then colon, so then you can see all these things are having inherit, initial, inline and inline start. Okay, inline end and inline start. Inline end and inline start means it's a left, inline end means it's a right. Okay, nowadays modern browsers are working with start and end properties. Start and end properties, inline start and inline end properties. Okay, so that is the float properties. So clear? Any doubts up to here? So remaining things we can discuss tomorrow. Okay. So any doubts up to here? Teja, Radhika, Naveen, Madhu. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me, or otherwise we can continue tomorrow. Okay. Okay, then fine. Thank you. So we can connect tomorrow.